Hello there, welcome to the O7 Academy, where your interest in computer is our goal. Today we'll be looking at display and position in CSS. So moving to our editor, we're going to our folder, and in our folder we'll be creating a new file called position.html and another file position.css, where you can choose whatever name to call it. It must not actually be the same, but the most important thing is that it must have the .css attached and the .html attached to it. So we already have it here, position CSS and position HTML. From our HTML, I'll be creating a simple file. So about that, I'll be creating a new, call it div. So after creating our div, I have a class of cont, which I'll shorten of container. You can choose whatsoever name you want for your class, but mind you, it must be a name that is in line with what you are doing, so that you can be able to remember to work with it in your CSS. Now I have an h1 with the content of the O7 Academy and a button tag with the content of click me. So moving to our preview, okay, we have something like this. So I'll be coming to our, this is what we are just going to do in our HTML and our CSS. First thing we're going to be doing, which I will advise you to always be doing when you are starting work in CSS, to avoid unusual spacing. Our margin of 0, padding of 0, and our box sizing border box, so that it will look nice, removing all the outside spacing and the spacing within the element. So we put in our, since it's a class, we put in dot cont, and I would love to, because for position and display, the only way you have to see how it works is basically when you have a border to watch what is going on. A border is preferable to watch what's going on within that div container. So 1 pixel solid, put it as red. Okay, now for display um we have a few number of display, and one of them is block. Well, in block, nothing much in block. Okay, first thing, it's not applied yet. Okay, I've not linked it, so I'll come over here to link it with our link tag. Link the first one, sorry. Okay, this is our link, and we have our href to be position.css. So check. So we have something like this, no padding, nothing. So now we can see basically this is block form, nothing much in block form. Block form means when it gets to the end of our, for instance, we are putting a text or whatever, when you get to the end of the container, then it goes order to the next line. So that's just block. So moving to flex will be same thing as block, but what is going to be in same line with everything. That they're going to arrange in flex form, so they're going to be in same line with everything. So this flex, and it's used many at times also with the justify content, which I'll be showing you shortly. Another one is we have the inline. So what inline, this is what inline does. Inline, it just show you the, it shows you the content, what the content is, the space the content is taking up. So that's what it shows you. Like you can see the button over here, and well, in this preview we can't see it very well like that, so I'll try to open it in a browser to see so I'll have a good view look of it. Okay, as you are seeing in our browser, the space covered by from here down to the click me, so that's the space covered. So that is inline, and we have inline block. That is a combination of both the inline and the block form. Come to our preview, then we have something like this, because basically in the inline you can only see the space covered by, the way it's covered is not actually that good, but here you can see the it's covering both the head tag, the h1 tag, and the button tag, because it's covering it in block form, showing you the sorry it's showing you the space being covered by both the h1 and the click me. That's because they are in block form. So that's it. Then so that's basically it, but the most use of them is flex and block and inline block. So they are used in making and designing of web page. So I'll be talking about flex a little bit, looking about flex. So when we display it as flex, we'll have something like this. Now they are together in same line. Now in this flex, we can actually come here and we can have a justify content. What justify content means is that it justify the content from the sides. So we can, it's already justified to the left, so we can actually come here and justify to the right. So come over here, we have something like this. It has been shifted to the right. We can also have it to be centered, because actually telling you that the space from the right and the left. So when we do center, it means that the space from the right and the left will be equal. So we have space here and space here equal, so it's just first. Now if we actually want to separate it, especially that's why we actually have the div container for separating. You can use to separate two different elements, one on the left, one on the right. So we can actually come here and we have something like space between, to actually space them, one to the left, the far left, and the other to the far right. So you have space between, and here we go, because it's actually, what it does is actually it space two tags, two different tags. Here we have two different tags, which is the h1 tag and the button tag. So it actually spaced them to different sides, one to the left and one to the right. Now we can have something like, I don't want them to be far, I want them to be equal, or I can place a lot of element there and just like that. So I want them to be even, so you can also have something like space evenly. So space evenly, and we have something like this. What you are saying here is that it actually spaced it to the center, and when it, so that you will actually have the equal sides. So we have this one here and we have this one here, spaced evenly from the center, from the right, and from the left. So that's one thing about flexbox, and we're still going to be looking at more property and value of flex. So that's all that I'll be looking at in this video. So I'll be moving to position. So basically we have four position. We have the, I'll be looking at the first one. The first one is relative, which is the default. It flows with the the container the way you want it to be. Like when we're working just now with the display, so it was actually positioned as relative. So some other properties that are also associated with the relative is that we can actually come here and do float. and we can shift it to the right because on a default is on the left. So we can actually come here and put float right. So we can come here and we have that the whole div has been shifted, the whole div, sorry, the whole div container has been shifted to the right hand side of our preview browser. So that's relative. Now relative works very well. So if we have another one called the absolute. Now I will not be working with the container here. I'll remove this, right, left, or just remove it entirely. And I'll be working with position with one of the elements in the div container, and I'll call it .com. Then I'm working with the button. Then I'll put button. This is the selector. Then I'll come here and put position. First of all, I'll work with the relative. Then I'll say float, left, sorry, right. Okay, I'll come in here to do a display of, okay, button here is not correct, wrongly spelled T. Okay, let's check our preview. Now we have something like this. We have actually floated it to the left. So can come to our container to put a display of, since it's attempt to be coming out of the container of inline block. Now let's see what we have here. So we have something like this that is contained the space that the elements are taking. So we have that it has shifted to the left hand side. Now if we have something like the absolute, now what absolute does that it makes it will no longer follow the rules of the div container. It's now working on its own. Like it can be placed anywhere, even outside the div container, like we have here. This click me is now outside the div container and is no longer respecting this float that is saying right. So what we have to do here, we can come here and we can actually put right, and we can place it to something like 2 pixels. That means we are placing 2 pixels a little away from the right. Now we have something like this, a little away from the right. As you can see, there's a little spacing. Okay, let me enable desktop mode. There's a little spacing. This is the 2 pixel. Now if I come here and change that to 0 pixel, you see there won't be any spacing. As you can see here, there isn't any spacing. Even though that the button is a little bit it has a little bit radius, you see it will supposed to be inline, same thing. So that's the padding 0. So I'll remove this from desktop mode. So that's it. Now you can also place it to be on the top. You can come here and put top. And you have something like this. It will be at the top container. It will be at the top of the container. And same thing bottom. That's same thing, and left. Now, but if we have something like relative, it is something like is relative, this won't apply. It won't apply. It will just remain the same way it is. As we have here, the 07 can click me. So it won't apply. The top won't apply. It's only have you have to change it to absolute. Now we have what we call the static. Static, as it see, it won't move. It will just remain there. No matter, it will just remain there. Well, we'll be using this as time goes on, but the static, it will just remain there, and you can be able to place other elements on top of it or below it, but it will just remain there. It won't move. You can just place it on a particular spot, and that's how it's going to be. Then we have the sticky too. We also have the sticky, which is same thing, but the difference with the sticky is that it will just be placed at one side and almost as similar to the static. So that's all about position and display, and we looked about the flex, the block, the inline block, and the block. And in position, we looked at the static, we looked at the absolute, the relative, and the sticky. So that was all. And watch out for our next video where we'll be using this to work on some of our projects. So thank you for watching.